Hello, and welcome to Scout Trout YouTube. Today we're going to talk about D2 football, who is now going into week 3 of their season in the top 25 at college football today. It's been an amazing run at getting kids D2 football scholarships from the start, and that's why I started my college football recruit rankings at college football today to try and push them up to the top from years 1 and 2. Now that we're in year 3 and 4 and seeing you know, all the hypocrisy, I call it, of 247 and rivals when these kids are going and beating FCS teams and D1 teams, like FCS beating D1. The talent's really starting to even out across the board, and I'm happy about that. But let's get into our rankings. Division II at college football today. Valdosta State was able to beat a very, very, very good Ohio Dominican team, 48-21. Home of Riley Gibbs and Blake McCoy, former Scout Trout elite athletes. Tarleton State in week 1 was able to beat FCS opponent Stephen F. Austin. I forget what the score was, but this week they won 56-3 over Doane, which was expected. Tarleton State's an amazing team year in and year out. They're number 2 ranked right now on our D2 football rankings. Ouachita Baptist, 2-0, heavily after some quarterbacks in mind. They're just week in and week out one of the best teams in college football today. They're ranked number 4 on the other D2 poll, and they beat Arkansas Tech, who's a very good team as well, 42-13. Handed them this, beat down. Ferry State, they're ranked number 2. We have them at number 4. Very good team year in and year out of Michigan. Very intriguing team to me. They beat Central Washington 62-28. Very good team. Very, very good team. Notre Dame, Ohio, ranked number 10 in the other poll. They're number 5 in our poll. Why? Because of Jaleel Mclaughlin, our D2 football player of the year. The kid's explosive. He may be small, but he's dynamite in a bottle. Broke all types of records last year. I think they made it all the way to the championship to get, run into Valdosta State, the juggernaut of D2 football year in and year out in Georgia. They could get all the kickbacks that don't go D1 in Georgia for whatever reason, and ballers. Some kids to look at for the NFL draft, honestly. Minnesota State, we have at number 6. Minnesota State's a very good football team, year in and year out, one of the top teams in Division II football. They were able to win 27-7 over Augustana. West Georgia comes in at number 7. Thanks for hitting us up on Twitter, University of West Georgia, letting us know to change your logo. They're ranked 13 in the other poll. That's not solidified. I don't care what you say. 24-14 over Limestone. They were able to win again to go to a record of 2-0. Also 2-0 is Minnesota Duluth, who I actually got to visit when I was coaching up in Minnesota at a junior college when I was first starting out, trying to place the rest of our players that were academically ineligible and didn't have the grades. Got to visit there, actually moved a nice couple of girls, actually, to help them move their house to another location with Braxton Williams out of Illinois. Very good kid. I've been up to the University of Minnesota Duluth. It's in the middle of nowhere, but in Minnesota, but it's a nice little town to go play college football at, in my opinion. Lenore-Rhine at number 9, 2-0. Very good team at the SAC conference. I actually know a lot about them because back in the day, Catawba College and everything, dealing with them, they are a great organization, great team, on the up and up. Midwestern State, I could see Midwestern State doing some big things this year. They were able to beat the Northwestern State Demons. They brought the power of God from Wichita Falls, Texas, all the way to Nogachales or whatever, Louisiana, and I think gave him a goose egg, a D2 over another FCS opponent, which was very intriguing to me. Leighton Rabb was one of the best quarterbacks in D2 football last year. Devin Smith is a person to watch for the NFL draft out of Midwestern State. I think they have a great thing going on there. There's been a lot of athletes I worked with in Wichita Falls that ended up at Midwestern State, and the great program. The Mustangs are on the rise in the world of college football today, and I'm excited about that for a lot of reasons. And we're going to talk more about Midwestern State here in the future. CSU Pueblo at number 11, coming in at 2-0. CSU Pueblo is a perennial powerhouse. Another area I worked in heavily with Pueblo East, who was 3-time state champions at the time, and had a lot of kids go on to the next level. Not sure what they're doing now. It was 3-4 years ago, but they were a perennial powerhouse in the state of Colorado, and CSU Pueblo is a perennial powerhouse in Division II football. I'm very excited for them. Slippery Rock, home of Garrett DBN, who actually is a Scout Trout Elite alumni as well, and tough kid. Should have probably been a D1 kid, but decided to stay in state. They're 2-0, playing great football. Let's see what they did this week in the world of college football today. Slippery Rock. I fell and slipped on a rock. 54-19 over Shippensburg, who's a very good PSAC team. That's an impressive win for the Slippery Rock team. Wingate University. Wingate moves to 2-0, moving into week 3 of the D2 college football season, as they were able to beat a very good Fayetteville State team, 34-24, in the world of college football today. Very excited for the outlook of Wingate football. Indianapolis, who's always up in the D2 poll for whatever reason. They must have a great team. They're number 11 right now in their poll. They are sitting at number 14 in my poll, 48-21 over what I believe was one of the best teams last year in Hillsdale College up in Michigan. Hillsdale is a great educational institution, by the way. They've sent me some mail. It was very inspiring. It's confidential, but really points out what's going on in the world today. And I really have a belief in the Hillsdale way up in Michigan. Let's look at who's next. Westchester, out in Pennsylvania, also in the PSAC, right outside of Philadelphia, home of Scout Trout, former home of Scout Trout when I was a kid. Well, New Jersey was, but it was pretty much Philly. Went to all the Sixers games. Allen Iverson was my favorite player growing up. Westchester was able to beat Gannon, who also is a very good football team, 48-14. So they were number 18 in their poll, and number 15 in our poll. Grand Valley State. Grand Valley State is every year just one of the best teams in D2 football. They're number 9. They were able just to squeak by against Delta State. So that played a role in them not being as high in our poll. The D2 football rankings have not come out yet, I don't believe. And for this week, they might have, I don't know. But they were still, from the beginning of the season when I looked. Texas A&M Commerce, very, very good football team. Cade Faskey is a coach there, and extremely talented at finding great players. But they just squeaked by Western Oregon by a score of 34-27. We expected that to be a blowout, and it just didn't happen. It didn't come to fruition for Cade and friends, but he had a really good tackle, defensive tackle, who I graded out extremely high, compared him to Aaron Donald. Name is Michael Nash. Might be working with him for the 2020 NFL draft just because he's that great of a kid, that great of an athlete. Hit me up recently. Harding falls to number 18. Why did Harding fall to number 18? Well, let's see. They won 24-0 this week. They're number 21 in the other poll. But, they lost week 1. And I remember who they lost to, but Ohio Dominican falls to number 19 after they got beat by the number 1 team in D2 football, home of Blake McCoy and Riley Gibbs. Two of the best players out of the state of Ohio. Southern Ohio, in my opinion, come from small towns, but very electric players, very tough players, gritty players, and it makes up what Ohio Dominican football is about, in my opinion. Northwestern Missouri State, Northwestern Missouri State is perennial powerhouse, one of the best Division II football teams year in and year out. And, I'm very excited to see what they're about this year. They were able to beat Washburn, which is the home of Kasim Stevenson out of Denver, Colorado, Division II. Looked great in preseason, really getting off the ball fast. Another kid that I'm looking at maybe possibly later down the road for the draft out of Division II football. Northwestern Missouri is sitting at number 6 in the country on their rankings. They moved to 30. They beat Washburn 38-17. Pittsburgh State, big win for Pittsburgh State this weekend. They were able to beat Emporio State. Emporio State was in our top 25. They fell out because Pittsburgh State beat the living hell out of them, 47-23. Very impressive win for Pittsburgh State, home of one of my favorite receivers in the IFL. I forget his name now. I played against him. He's a cop now, and he was lightning on wheels. Brian something. Very exciting player. Played for Cedar Rapids and many other teams in the world of college football today. Texas A&M Kingsville hung 72 on Saul Ross. They're not in our top 25 yet, but they probably will be soon if they keep up with the production on the offensive side of the football like that. But Saul Ross is a Division III school, and that plays a factor. Saginaw Valley. They've been in my top 25. I've known Saginaw Valley State for a while, and their staff, they're out of Michigan as well. They beat Tiffin, who was in my top 25 last year. They beat them by a score of 35-20, which is very impressive. Bowie State's on the rise. Bowie State beat Shaw 26-21. Now, looking at Bowie State football, they were in our top 25 last year. They probably will be back this year. They lost to Amir Hall, who I thought was an NFL caliber quarterback, one of the best players in Division II football. I think he won the Black Player of the Year of HBCU football, and that's extremely impressive and a prestigious award to win. Kutztown moves into our top 25 as Kutztown was able to beat Cal U, who was formerly in our top 25 in the PSAC conference. And the PSAC conference is loaded. It's home of the former fullback for the Green Bay Packers, Kuhn. Remember they used to go Kuhn. They still do it somewhere probably because he was a phenomenal player out of the PSAC conference. And Kutztown was able to beat Cal U by a score of 35-28. Very impressive with that. Kutztown, Coach LaMonica, if he's still there, was one of the best coaches I met in the world of college football today. Great guy, former coach of Temple University. Now let's look at what Central Missouri's been doing. They hung 70 points on Northeastern State, 70-7. I've gotten a lot of votes for them in our top 25, and I'm very excited about Central Missouri football and seeing what they're capable of doing the rest of the Division II college football season. Last but not least, the Colorado School of Mines. They were really good last year and put up a lot of points. They're doing the same thing this year. Extremely well-coached team, 52-7 over Black Hills State, which is also a very good football team. And, we're going to see what happens the rest of the D2 football season. I love their playoff system, just like the FCS has. It's very fun to follow. We followed it last season at College Football Today, where Valdosta State was reigning national champions. Extremely talented team at Valdosta State. I don't know this year. The Lone Star Conference has a lot of talent, and I think they're the best this year. The PSAC, I think, is coming up. We're going to see. So we'll see what happens. All in all, these kids deserve, to be looked at. A lot of them went overlooked in high school for whatever reason, and we were able to place them at colleges, and then other people found them as well. They have tryouts for D2 football. You can get a full ride going to a lot of these schools and great education. And that's the key, getting a free education, being able to establish your life moving forward, and playing a playoff system. I love the college football playoff for D1, but it's only 4 teams. In that league, you play a whole bracket that comes together, and it's very competitive. It's very fun to follow, and I'm very excited for Division II football this year, College Football Today, and I can't wait to cover it the rest of the season and see where our guys pan out moving forward and what they're capable to do. One of our top quarterbacks last year got hurt like week 3 or 4, tore his knee up real bad. Nobody thought he was going to bounce back. He's at Urbana. Not sure what he's up to yet, but I'm going to check on Tanner Rickle. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks last year. And, I got a lot of guys that were in it for the first few years that are playing D2 and, great players that, they weren't going to find because they don't have the recruiting budgets and stuff like that, but they have great schools, great organizations. And when you look at the stadiums in Texas for Division II football, that's why the Lone Star Conference is one of my favorites. They're huge, and it's just like playing D1 or FCS in another state, and it's very fun to follow. And good luck to all the D2 football teams this year from Scout Trout. Thank you for recruiting our athletes in the first few years, and thanks for helping our other athletes go D1 that deserved it, because getting offers from you guys ended up propelling them to the next level. And Keep up the great work. Big fan. Love you guys. Thanks for tuning in to Scout Trout Elite. Smash the like button. Check out our D2 top 25 and follow D2 football. Some great athletes, great players. Jaleel McLaughlin, D2 football player of the year last year. Lightning on wheels. Deserves to be looked at for the NFL draft. Could be a big impact player. God bless.